Welcome to the emergency show, the Squarebase show featuring the Warriors of Chaos. There's a new book. There's new minis. It's so exciting. Me and Val Heffelfinger talk about the old world release for Warriors of Chaos coming soon.
It's the walk. It's a walk-off.
It's a walk-off,
Rob.
It's a walk-off. I think that's an American thing, so I don't know if I can use it, but that's exciting. Hello, bud. It's nice to see you. Well,
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you?
Very good. I'm literally, this is Monday we're recording, which is the weekend after I've just run another Old World event, back-to-back 2 weekends in a row, and
back-to-back killer content releases.
Oh, thank you.
Also, dude, like you've got like a job waiting for you in live event production, because like you throw those things together. How many? Like I don't know. I don't want to ruin 10. Everything. 10 hours?
Oh wait, 10 what?
How long does it take you to throw together that cut that you do? You've done 2 of them now. These amazing. If you haven't watched them yet, Kapachow. If you haven't watched them yet, Rob has been doing tournament event recaps, which even if you're not super into tournament play, are mostly about like stunning armies, cool people, great vibes. So check them out. They're really, 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 really great. Oh. And Rob has gotten them out on the day of the event afterwards, which is just, as someone who's a little familiar with production, impressive. It's an impressive thing that you turn that around like that. So well done.
Thank you.
Maybe it's just because where you edit is the only place that you have air conditioning. Maybe that's what's going on.
Never leave. I just never leave. Yeah, thank you. So I'm really enthused. And then, going into Monday, I was like, I'm about to start looking at editing some of the games I recorded. There's loads going on. Tune into the Squarebase show proper, because that's not what this is about. Instead, I'm just sat there streaming away, and everyone's like, Rob, Warriors of Chaos drop. And I was like, wait, did a Dwarf just come out? Where's my underwear? I'm so excited. So this is stunning and exciting. So that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Your first foray into Old World was, in fact, Warriors of Chaos, was it not?
It was, and still is. It still is. There's a couple of other armies I would really like to try out, but I still think there's got lots of play. And what's exciting for me is when we get to this, looking at what they've announced, it looks like this entire thing is being exploded open. I know, like, your initial run into Orcs and Goblins was obviously like, all of the Goblins, Fanatics and stuff, but now you have to recognize with that Arcane Journal, that book is so wide now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Orcs and Goblins, Warriors of Chaos kind of have it too, in the sense that the army itself, like the Grand Army, has a number of different identities. Like you have the sort of the more Norse style Marauders and the Catechins in the cold kind of vibe with their rip muscles. So yeah, there's there is sort of a like you can have a lot of different looks to your Warriors of Chaos army depending on what you lean into. So yeah, like it's very exciting, and Orcs and Goblins are like that too. Very wide range.
And I think what's exciting also, it's one of the most popular event armies as well. So now people have got access to a bunch more minis. Also new ways to play. It's going to be thrilling. Let's jump straight in because I don't want to beat around the bush too much.
Don't beat that bush.
Yeah, the Old World Almanac. Remember we just used to do an almanac show once a week? That was cute.
Remember when we didn't even have almanacs? We were just talking. Literally tap dance for a year, folks. Go back. It's beautiful. It's amazing stuff.
Right. The Warriors of Chaos assemble for the Dark Gods. For too long as a civilized world, not allowed to sleep soundly. I wouldn't say that that's how the world is right now, but whatever. Unaware of the dark forces that stalk the far north. They're from your end, bud. Yeah, far north. But as a kingdom...
Well, no, Canada is Dark Elves. For the record, so
apologies.
Yeah, this is more the Scandinaves. These are the Scandinaves.
But as the Kingdom of Bretonia looks to the south and the Empire Man continues in eternal squabbles, it's time to safety is over. The Warriors of Chaos have returned to the Old World. The Northern Barbarians are amassing in numbers not seen for centuries, with a battalion box, an arcane journal, and the usual accessories of 25 separate kits. 25 separate kits returning to plastic, metal, and resin.
I want to point out, like, and like, just I'm no GW apologist. They're a big boy company they're a manufacturer. If they commit to something like this, they should have an idea of how logistically they're going to do things. But bringing a game as deep as Warhammer Fantasy Battles from the dead and back to life into production and finding room for it on shelves is a hell of a challenge. And this pace is picking up, which is pretty cool. So yeah, like 25 kits on top of what 4 factions already, each probably in a similar neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big project for like 4 people to handle. So I color me impressed.
Yeah, incredibly impressed. These releases will be split into 2 waves, and while there is a new special character featured in Arcane Journal, more on her in due course. There are no, I know, went woke, a woman. There are no new miniatures scheduled in this release. So no new miniatures scheduled in this release, which means they just haven't got them done.
Haven't got them done. Also, interesting that they lead with that. What are your thoughts on just owning that statement up front? They can't get out of their own way.
Well, this pushes the rumors, which I've heard, that they've accelerated this edition. We'll go more into that on the Square Base show, that we'll do later in the week. But the kind of scuttlebutt is that the edition has been sped up because it's just so popular. So they're trying to get as much out there as possible, bring us straight into, and then they can kind of coalesce maybe more factions in. And I would see that as play. And also, like, while the new characters would be super cool, ultimately, and obviously Warriors of Chaos have got so many of those models available from the Age of Sigmar range.
Yep.
Having these models just out, you can pick them up. There's your battalion box. There's your Arcane Journal. Warriors of Chaos players, pat on the bum, off you go. Yep. It's just a nice little turnaround. Like, they've already said pre-order has just gone up for the Orc Troll character. Has just gone up for this. Yeah.
The other half of the dwarves too.
And the other half of the dwarves. So like, this is kind of blown me away. I'm like, do you know what? Cool. Accelerate the game. Get more people in.
And also, let's just shout out the prolificness of SDS right now. And also, I really want to say, GW, what the hell are you doing? I know you're pushing AOS right now, and I know you got 40K and your Inquisition Codex or whatever it was called. Like, that's cool. But SDS this week has announced an entire new edition for Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
It has announced a new book for Necromunda. Mm-hmm. It's announced the return of Old World Terrain, which is some of the most coveted and classic kits, and Warriors of Chaos, and a box like SDS. So the Specialist Design Studio is just on an absolute tear with incredible content that's not the same as like the main games. A lot of people who would potentially be interested in knowing that this exists. Mm-hmm. I found out about the Old World Terrain on a Facebook post on the same day as a preview was going on. Like, I got an email about an entire new edition of Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game, or whatever the hell it's called. And it was just an email on like a Thursday last week.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, Games Workshop? Like, if this is petty, I have no idea.
Yeah, we are there. You're absolutely right. You're just calling it as it is.
Any one of those systems could be an entire game company on its own.
Yeah.
No problem. Like that, like on its own. And so, like, just I'm happy Old Worlds is getting its flowers with a Monday blog roll post. Good work, but like, guys. Let's get some hype behind this output, because it's amazing stuff and it's stuff that people want. So anyway,
and also,
rant over.
No, it's also really high quality, high end stuff, in my opinion. Sure, they're old models. I'll talk about my criticisms in a minute, but I'm happy that they told me there will be no new miniatures scheduled in this release. That's good. That's fine. I don't mind you telling me that, because guess what? When you bring that round again and you tell me that they're there, then bang, I pull the trigger. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Warriors of Chaos Battalion, pretty stonky. 2 units of 20. It's not 20 warriors. It's 32 warriors. 32 warriors, 10 knights, and 2 Chaos Chariots. Now, if you are playing in events, most of these minis don't see much play. But
right now,
but maybe the Arcane Journal will expand that. Warriors, and it's not like that they're terrible. They just right now don't see tons and tons of play. Maybe we'll see more play in the future. Definitely. And I saw some really fun Chaos Knight shenanigans over the weekend. Shout out to Chris Cousins from the Dwellers Below.
I'm sure people playing at home. Basically, the thing is all these battalion boxes are like heavily weighted towards infantry. The Chaos Knights, I'm sure you could find a way to tweak them, make them chosen, or even just run them because knights are always useful, I find. But I think right now infantry is in tough. Like it's in a tough place in the game. There's very specific units that are feel good to play. Like even in a casual environment, if you put down your big expensive brick of stuff and it does nothing, or it has a limited impact on the game, that's always going to be a feel bad, whether or not you're in a tournament or in your basement, right? So I think also if you ask the designers when they close their eyes and they imagine what Warhammer Fantasy Battles look like, it's not single lines of minimum infantry. It's bricks of infantry marching across, supported by knights and chariots and dragons and monsters. But the core of the game, this is why I'm an 8th edition stan, everybody. They overshot the mark. I agree. They overshot the mark. But the core of the game is infantry. And right now, infantry's hurting. And I hope the studio is aware of that, because the reason I said right now is I think with some tweaks and maybe we see a rebalance, infantry could become a more integral part of this game, because I'm sure that's what they would love to see.
Yeah, I agree. Also, this is where I'm just going to put my flag in the ground. I love all these models. I think they're great. I bought them the first time around. I bought a Warriors of Chaos Army. I bought all the Slaves to Darkness stuff. The Knights are better, in my opinion. I think the Warriors are better as well. I've been able to make them rank up. They look great. So that's going to be I'm not going to say that again. I'll say it now. I think there are better model options are available, even if they are more expensive, because they are. Maybe you want the classic look, maybe you do. But for me, I think the new models and sculpts are much sicker, in my opinion. So there we go. But there's big old box.
Big old box. And what I'd love to just highlight there is that, like, when have you ever had a choice at Games Workshop? When has there ever been a discount brand? Like, you could, if you love Warriors of Chaos, you could play AOS now for half as much. You know what I mean? And like the option is, because these, to me, they're not bad models. They're just they're designed for what they do. And they're perfectly cromulent models, and I like them just fine. You're right. The AOS stuff is dynamic, but it's at least twice as expensive. Yeah. If you were to build out an entire army. But now you have the option in both games. You can say, hey, I want Warriors of Chaos. Cool. Well, I could buy these. I could buy 1 billion of these guys, or I'm a hobbyist, or I just love the look of these. I'm going to spend a bit more. I will get the fancier new one. So you got options, and that's so cool. And you get a price benefit as well, depending on which way you go, which is, I don't think I've ever seen that present in Games Workshop's pricing.
I agree. Then we get the announcement, and I can't begin to tell you my excitement. I don't know if that's new artwork. I think it might be. I was reflecting on this. Yes, go ahead. Is it new artwork? I think so. I feel like all the other ones have been new, so I think this one is. And I was joking in my head that this will probably be the artwork for all army books for Warriors of Chaos for the next 40 years. But it's nice that they made the spend. But yeah, correct us in comments. I'm pretty sure all the other ones have been new. Apparently every cover is new and will be new, which is quite interesting. Yeah. Look at that cover. I am. This is like a day one. This is front of the queue, 7 a.m. at the shop sort of excitement we're at. Okay, very excited. Okay, so in the book, available both as 48-page softback and a digital EPUB, gangster. The Arcane Journal is bursting with horrifying options and extras. There's lore, a scenario, 2 special characters, including Galrock the Great Drake. Galrock! No way! That's awesome. That is awesome. Oh, I wonder which Galrock will we see? I think I've heard rumors of Plastic Chaos Dragon, and I think it's happening. But do you remember the Imperial Chaos Dragon? Yes, they lost the mold for that. They lost the mold for that. Yeah. They sold it. They sold the master. That was the secret source. They sold the master. This is a deep dive for another day. Just shattered my heart. So it's going to be Derpy Galrock, but that's fine. Yeah. 7 new unit profiles. 7. Pretty nice. Okay. Two armies of infamy, the marauding wolves of the sea, and the mountain. the mounted heralds of darkness. So that, yeah. And new magic items you simply control. So I think we're going to get a marauder. We're going to be able to build a full marauder list. You don't need to go for warriors. You don't need to go for knights. I think you're going to get a full marauder list working somehow, which I think will be very spicy. I don't know what you would need to do to make marauders good. Marauders aren't bad because you can take marks, and most other armies can't like have that level of upgrade that they can give to units on top of, equipment loadouts and other stuff. Normally it's like, sure, you can make them have spears or weapons. And this is like, by the way, also +1 attack with frenzy if you want. That's a pretty massive upgrade to just be able to,
it's not bad,
to throw away. So yeah, I don't know what they would need right now. Maybe something to think about in the future. But what do you think about those two armies of infamy? What do you think? Excited?
Well, I like that. I mean, I think that's good. It does repeat sort of the all, like, I think, has everyone gotten an all cav? I guess except for the dwarves. Brett's got it. Yeah, everyone kind of gets an all cavalry option, which is intriguing. And then something that boosts more of a grounded element of the army. So basically they're providing you 2 SKUs rather than a combined arms type thing. It's going to come down to how themey and what the unit choices are, what kind of unique items they have. So far, they've done a really good job. So, hopeful that it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I'm very hopeful on this front, especially after the dwarf release. Now I might be stupid, and the comments. Let me know down below. I might just be giving them too much credit, but I reckon this might be spicy. I reckon this could be fun. I reckon they could be making stuff interesting, and I'm ready.
Well, dare to dream. Dare to dream. I mean, these are the big bad guys of the old world. So got to swing for the fences a little bit here. But they are subdued, right? Like this is the ebb in the winds of magic. They are sort of barbarians at the gates right now. Maybe not even at the gates. Maybe just if you go too far into the north, you run into these guys. They're not the like impending horde of doom that we get to see at different places in the future lore. So, and you kind of see that in the model range too. They don't have all of the things they could have, and so we're getting more of a chaos in ebb rather than flow right now, which is cool.
You get some reference cards and dice. Very good, very good. And then we get onto the returning plastic. So returning plastics is kind of an odd shout because these are currently in Age of Sigmar minis.
I was wondering about this.
I've had to break it to the Age of Sigmar community that when the new battle tomes come out for Age of Sigmar, they're losing all these minis. Right now, all the City of Sigmar players are like, I'm going to run my dwarfs. And I'm like, you should sell your dwarfs. But they don't. But all they keep doing is calling me a prick and telling me I'm wrong. So I'm just gonna take it as it is. So we're going to get the Chaos. I've never really liked the Chaos Lord on foot. I've always thought it was derpy, same as a Sorcerer. There are better sculpts out there if you want a Sorcerer or a Chaos Lord. You don't need those two.
These particular two, they're not their best ones, but again, not offensive.
Chimera, which is currently available for AOS, is being ported over, which is a fine kit. Kind of holds up. Maybe one of the most popular units because of their how undercosted they are in Old World. The Drogers are very good.
Not just undercosted, just great rules.
Great rules.
They're awesome. I want to shout out the paint job here, which for me de-emphasizes their lower bodies, which have always looked kind of awkward to me. And like so your eye is more drawn to the torsos. I think usually they're like green, they're more dragony.
Yeah.
So I kind of this is the first time I've looked at a Dragon Ogre from GW and been like, it's not that awful. So yeah, cool. Curious to see, like, especially with the kits that were just previously for sale in AOS. I'm really interested to see where they get priced. Like, do they get the AOS discount?
The reduction.
Do they get the old world discount or not? That'll be interesting how the pricing works.
That will be
old world pricing. I mean, it is very wild for games where the way games. Maybe it's just because I haven't been paying attention how Heresy compares to 40K, but like, yeah, they're definitely going to want to limit opportunities for crossover just because you just buy the cheaper model if that's what they're doing.
I think ultimately they don't have to do any retooling, right? So they've made this is just all profit all day. Like there's no investment that they have to they don't have to justify an investment. So the next one is a wild amount of models per box. 32 Chaos Warriors in a box is a huge box, right?
That's big. Like that is more. That is all the Chaos Warriors you need. That's more than likely more than what you need.
In fact, you could probably take half of them, chop them up, and add some tentacles to them, and make them Forsaken. That's probably better for you. Then we got the Chaos Lord and Chaos Sorcerer Lord also on the Manticore. So RIP to that, also in AOS as well. So these are things are all that currently available in some form or the other. So this isn't where it gets super spicy.
This kit, this kit, I think we got a shout out. I think this is a great kit, especially the guys riding them as well as I think the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Sorcerer on this model. Fantastic.
I'm against you on that, but that's okay. We don't have to agree, and that's why we have the show. That's perfect. Delightful. Okay. But returning metals. Whoa! Oh boy! So we've got the Lord and this is metal Lord and Demonic mount, Chaos Sorcerer on Chaos Steed, and a Champion of Chaos. Chaos Ogres, Chaos. These are all going to be in metal. So what do we think about the little command group? These are old.
Well, is that the famous Nurgle guy looking off into the distance? I think it is. This has been redone actually in AOS by the AOS model. It is so much nicer, but it is inspired by this.
Yes.
I guess it just depends on your own personal taste. Some people just like this. I think this Chaos Sorcerer's horse should probably be put down. I think it's put in. It's done enough time. It should go hang out with the Bretonian lords and just go out behind the shed and turn it into something useful like glue or something. It's the old mini horse. It's the old mini barded horse. Good Lord. But hey, I'm sure there's someone right now who's like, yes, oh, I've missed you, Chaos Sorcerer on pony.
But big news for people who like terrible metal minis is the Chaos Ogres are back. This is pretty fun because if you can find if you can go to your local game store and find someone in their 70s, and then
or Louise,
or Louise, and if you could just and if you could just shout in the local gaming store, be like, the best thing about Hero Quest, and as soon as someone screams back, the Barbarian, then you can talk about how much you both love these models, right? Because they're beautiful, right?
Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah, fine. They're beautiful. They have beauty. Hey, look, someone is really fired up that they can buy these again. And we were talking about the good pricing of Old World. It stopped in the last paragraph. The pricing on the metals is comical. But it's really getting after those remember berries. So you're paying a premium for the nostalgia of getting to own these when you used to lovingly stare at them in the shop, but you couldn't afford all the shekels, and now you've grown up and retired, and now you can buy them for an alarming amount of money.
The chat are furious at me. They've all said that they are beautiful. Okay, and then the Chaos Ogre command group as well.
Is that what it is? Oh, I get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the Chaos Ogre command group as well.
What era? I really want to know what era. Like in the comments,
1932.
I think these ogres have got to predate 5th edition. These got to be like early 90s, 80s. I don't know. They are of a different time.
Yeah, these
trolls though.
Yeah. They are old. I agree. Then you've got these. Don't look too bad. Chaos Trolls look kind of okay though. It's a vibe.
These look fine to me. These say to me more of a later 90s, still green stuff, still like non-CAD design models, but like definitely of that different era of proportions and sculpting style. I don't know. These guys strike me as nice. Still would probably just chaosify the plastics, but hey, if you like them, they're there.
Then we've got Old Chosen back, and these are honestly not terrible models. I quite like the style of old Chosen, but obviously there are also new Chosen, but they are pretty big. But I like new Chosen a lot, and they do fit on a base. You have to do a bit of work to fit them on a base, and then there is the Chosen Command as well, which is also very cool. And then there are metal options for your warriors if you want to run halberds or dual-handed weapons, which is really nice to have. I do think halberds and shields, just as a look, not talking about the rules, just as an aesthetic, is stunning. Looks so good.
It's yes, absolutely, definitely gives a call back to certain things.
Now,
who's next?
Now, this is where it gets crazy. Returning and remastered minis. Now, if you're an OG like me and Val, you're a fan of Monster Arcanum and Tamrakhan, and the now defunct Forge World that was for Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Warhammer
Forge. And it looks like they're bringing back stuff we were never expecting. So it looks like Skin Wolves are going to be in the book. How are you feeling about that?
First of all, anytime someone says Skin Wolves, I think of foreskin. I don't know why. That's what I think of. Second of all, I've never quite understood why Skin Wolves are in the Warriors of Chaos. Maybe like they just strike me as an undead. Like they're werewolves. They're werewolves. It's an undead, not a chaos thing. I think maybe someone's going to light me up.
I think
it's like visually they don't look right to me.
I think it's like Norska wolf sort of vibe.
I mean, there's one that's like literally howling at the moon.
Yeah, like it's a cross pollination. It's more of a feeling.
It's all about it's a vibe. All right,
it's a vibe.
All right. So yeah, what's our blurb on the returning and remastered?
So yes, there are two. Here we go. And still the flow of Twisted Nasty continues. Several these are all in resin. Several of these kits have been made the journey from the metal to resin, while others were formerly only available in Warhammer Forge range from Forge World. These models have been lovingly remastered with sharper detail than ever. They are, and I will shout out the Forge World resin, expensive or no, the latest Forge World resin. I bought a Necromunda recently. And the detail is truly sharp as fuck. So I will shout that out. Anyway, these models have been lovingly remastered with sharper details than ever. There are Hellcannon, Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth, the Skin Wolves, Warpfire Dragon, Gigantic Chaos Spawn. So Skin Wolves returning, I'm excited about because I'm loving the idea of putting them in to a Warriors list, seeing what they look like. Again, another monstrous infantry unit that'll probably be quite fast, pretty spicy. The Warpfire Dragon, though. Wow.
This is a cool, it's cool that there's a dragon, like one of the old resident dragons coming back. He is really cool looking, and yeah, I love all the Forge World dragons. My heart's already been broken because the one I was really excited for apparently doesn't exist anymore. But this guy is awesome.
Yeah, Warpfire Dragon.
I wonder if he's a mount. Is he a mount? Is he just a cool dragon that gets to come and play without anybody on him? Because most dragons have to be ridden these days. So yeah, I'd be really curious to see how he actually performs in battle.
Then, if I'm not mistaken, this is the Gigantic Chaos Spawn, is what this is.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that's what this was anyway. So now you've got another monster to add to the retinue. And do you know what's really fun about both the Warpfire Dragon and the Gigantic Chaos Spawn is that when these were initially released for Warhammer Forge, Forge World minis were unpainted. So this is the first time I've seen a Warpfire Dragon or a Gigantic Chaos Spawn painted by the company.
And sorry about that, Skin Wolves.
Oh yeah. I was just like, yeah, that is how they look. They look like that. You never, yet to be seen painted. Okay.
Well, maybe one day. But yeah, I mean, super cool. Giant Chaos Spawn. He's got at least two faces. I love how gnarly their spawns can be. I've noticed there's two models that you seem to have not scrolled through yet. Maybe I started from a different place than you did.
I did, because ladies and gentlemen, now when Old World was announced, they split the factions into legal quotation marks and legends and not legal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Games Workshop, get fucked, because Chaos Dwarfs are now an official legal unit on a hell cannon, right? Let's go, boys! Sound the alarms. They're back.
Look at those guys.
Woo!
Look at those guys. Inspired a whole range. All of the Tamarcon Chaos Dwarves definitely like based off of these dudes. Mm-hmm. This is what started the comeback the last time, Rob. Perhaps once more, they will get fired up. Also, I still have your hell cannons that you gave me, and I might just throw them in the garbage. I would feel badly giving those or selling them to anyone. They were one of the most nightmare. If you had pewter, it was maybe one of the most nightmarish pewter models to ever put together. And if you have it in fine cast for some reason,
it looked like shit.
It looked like shit. It looks like a recast, but it is in fact an actual model. It even feels like a recast.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing satisfying about the hell cannon unless somehow you manage to get it to look like this. So I'm hopeful that they actually did go the extra mile and unfuck this thing. That's the only way I can describe.
Importantly, it builds like shit. It's incredibly difficult to paint once you have assembled it, and you must assemble it because there is no way to build it after you've painted it. It's truly garbage, but it's back, baby. It's back. And Chaos Dwarfs, now official in the old world. Hear it first.
Beautiful.
One of my least favorite minis in all of Warhammer, the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Yes.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for me to release the short I made about this and then never actually publish. Yeah. All right. I'll bring it out. Everything that you need to know in 60 seconds. Rob's opinion on the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. I don't think I ever did publish it, but anyway, I made one. I thought it was funny and then never published it. So Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, I've seen it on the table. I remain confused as to your disdain for him. I guess he does have those weird little hands coming out of his hips for some reason. I don't know. His face is cool. He's a bit of a G to me. Sure. I got no hate. We've covered this.
Sure. Then we've got some metal made to order, and there's a little fun bit about here. Here you can see 3 models, but they discuss 4. There are 4 units returning to metal made to order basis. There are the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Chaos Steed, and I'm assuming the reason that they've not shown it is because of the sheer volume of titties on that thing. It's absolutely.
Is that right?
I think so. Right. Right. I think you'll have to double check me, or they don't have it. But I think it is decked out, is what I would say.
Right? Oh, mate, we can't put that on there.
Yeah. Bloody hell, mate.
I'm not immediately being assaulted by a lot of titties here. I'm not even sure what this model is. It's made to order, so it's got to be old. Maybe they put it in the wrong place. Maybe that's what that guy on the horse that needs to be shot. Maybe that's who that is.
No, it's Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Chaos Steed. But anyway, maybe who knows? Anyway, the Demon Prince with sword, Demon Prince with axe, and the classic Chaos Spawn. Because they don't want you to buy Games Workshop's Chaos Spawn, which itself is 8,000 years old and looks like garbage. So that Chaos Spawn actually looks better than the plastic Chaos Spawn. I'm going to shout out our old Hammer fans right now. So I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Also, the current Chaos Spawn, the plastic Chaos Spawn has some uncomfortable configurations for me. A lot of anuses on the the current Chaos Spawn.
Like you're okay with 3, but past that, too many.
Yeah, we're getting to too many. A monkey with 6 asses.
Right, so that is wave 1. So they have established that they're going to be releasing the Warriors of Chaos into 2 different waves. So that's wave 1, everything that we looked at before. Let us know in the comments below if any of those that you're going to be picked up. Wave 2 is so much more. So we've got big bricks of Marauders. Now, if you do not pick up the Warcry warbands, I get it. Val's right. You can buy less, but they're cheaper. But why when you can have such beautiful models? The not only the Dark Oath, which is the Slaves of Darkness, like some new Marauders, basically. Not only the Dark Oath stunning, there are so many Warcry warbands that are just out of this world.
Yes, yeah.
So
your stuff looks awesome. I for your sake, I really hope that the Army of Infamy is fun because I know how fired up you are about those units, and they look great. And it'd be so awesome if you had exciting reason to like put some effort and finish them and put them on a table.
Yeah, if the Marauders are half decent, I'm gonna go for like that'll be my like truly like top tier army. I'll try and paint. Like I'll try it. But like, anyway, so there are Marauders. Marauders are back. Marauder Horsemen. Again, the Dark Oath ones are so good. These aren't too bad, to be honest. These kind of hold up okay.
The Marauder Horsemen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
More so than the like the actual Marauders. I'm trying to think of maybe Louise needs to do a like how to save this model or something like that, like she did with the Bretonnian Lord. But because like I don't know, there's something about them. Also, like maybe mix up the flesh tones on them so they have different colors. Mm-hmm. Because again, this is like I think the most ridiculous part of the model, of course, is their over the top jackness and tiny legs. So you probably want to try and change up maybe how they read.
Yeah, but, a little bit.
I also kind of personally, it's certainly cartoony. So I don't know, but I love Catachans. So it's hard for me to hate Marauders. The guys on the horses though are clearly superior to them. Maybe just buy a bunch of the horse guys and put those torsos on the foot guys.
The one thing about the foot guys is they've got a lot of weapon options, so you could snip off all the flails, but I'm sure you could just buy flails off people. Then we have Chaos Knights returning. You might like these Chaos Knights. I think the new Chaos Knights are super sick, and they're do really rank nice. And they do rank up. I've been able to do it. Then we have Chaos Chariots, which there is no better equivalent of these right now, and these are gonna say fine.
Yeah,
it's mainly the guys.
Dynamic.
I'd replace the guys maybe.
Yeah, if you can cram someone on there, I could see that. But like, this is at least at a minimum of an era of Chariot where the horses are running. Like that was a massive advancement in GW Chariot technology when the horses were not just standing around chewing their tongue.
Well, importantly, this is also an era of horse where they look like horses, which is also true.
That's a good one.
We need to do a timeline of Games Workshop minis, and it's at this point that horses looked real.
And they unfortunately in fantasy they never quite got to the right size of horse, which they finally achieved in AOS. Someone, I guess, went outside and looked at a horse and was like, "Blimey,
they look like what?
they're tall. How are you supposed to get on that thing?"
So now my actual favorite release is the you might make you laugh is the Marauder Hound or the Chaos Hounds, mainly because like when I have a 35-point unit, right? I don't mind if it looks like absolute fucking garbage. Like these look fine. These genuinely look fine, right?
So dry brushable. Like you can slap chop the shit out of these things.
Yes. Absolutely.
No problem.
And you get like 1 billion in a box, more than I'll ever need. I could find another Warriors Against player and give them 10. I'm like, there you go. We both want 2 units of 5. We're sorted. We can split the box. So that's amazing. So I'm happy about that. And where this horde of horror is not sufficient enough to sum the world of man good, reinforcements must have further out in the Chaos Waste, arriving in the second wave a little later. Like they said, these include Chaos Marauder, all those things. That's a lot of chaos taken from us. Anyway. So they'll be available to pre-order soon. If they're featuring them today, I think they'll be on pre-order. They'll announce the pre-order on Sunday, which means they'll be available for pre-order. Yeah. Let me just get the date right. They'll be available for pre-order on the Saturday, the 24th, which means that's when we'll get the rules for them, because all of the like early access content creators will have them, and that is stunning stuff. Super excited about that. Love
Very
that.
Exciting. That means we might have to throw together a deep dive on the old Grand Army.
Oh, let's do a deep dive on the Grand Army. That'd be sick.
Gonna have to do it.
That would be sick. Okay, so how do you feel about this like emergency release and all this hot news?
I feel like this will be a pleasant surprise to many fans of the old world, especially given how long it took to go from, well, actually, Rob, a lot of people are going to be in the comments being like, well, they announced the dwarves and then it was 3 months. And that's fair.
That is fair.
They took a long ass time to get the dwarves out the door.
True.
But
True.
there was some other stuff going on. So I have the sense that this will be the pre-order timeline that Rob's talking about. They are just pushing product out, especially out of SDS right now, and I guess slamming it into that incredibly lucrative August release window. So hopefully that opens up too. Like, what's after this? If you do the old front of the cover trick and you look at all the faction symbols on the front of the rule book, we have been following a pattern where the good guy opposite the bad guy are released in pairs, which means the next army should be high elves if this holds up. Which sounds crazy, but it has actually lined up for the first two waves of releases. So high elves before Christmas, that would be interesting, or new faction before Christmas.
New faction, I think probably next summer. Probably
next summer, because we don't have any we don't have anything releasing next summer, right? Like the AOS, what would be next up on the dock?
It'll be the Horus Heresy new edition. Is what it'll be. But questions as to whether or not the Horus Heresy new edition gets pulled forward from summer because maybe AOS, however AOS sold, because that's what they do, right? If they need to bring it into a financial year, they just bring it forward. If they knew, we'll see. So who knows? But yeah, pretty good.
I would love to see them go on a 4-year release cycle. It would be really awesome. I know it's unlikely, but I feel like they've got. I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about Horus Heresy, but like, they really maybe keep 40K on a 3-year release cycle if you must. But everything else on a 4-year, I think, would be really lovely.
I think it would feel right. I think what's
like
great,
people would want it more. Like if you want to want the edition, you don't want to be having a good time. You kind of want to be bored for a new edition, or like this edition is groaning under its own weight, or it wasn't quite great, and we need a new one. You don't want like the party to like the lights to be turned on. The party ended before it needed to. You want to go home way too drunk.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think like as a proof of concept, Old World has absolutely smashed it out of the park, right? And I think that's true from people playing at events that I've seen, people online. Everyone has been really excited about it. I think where we're in interesting places, I feel like that, we're maybe in the edition where they're just launching all the minis. Yes. So I don't mind if that's like, more of a short 2 to 3 year quick stopgap, because the stat lines for most minis were like identical to 8th. So it's not like
we're identical to 6.
Yeah, so it's not like if there is a new version, like not a new edition of Old World, the stat lines for everything will change. I don't think that'll be the case at all. Instead, what I think it will just be like a clean up of the rules, a little refocus on some units, and then boom, we're straight back in. And I think then there's the opportunity to bring in other factions which maybe got left out in the cold, like the Legends ones, and that's probably what we'll see, and more expanded, and then bring them all in. Because like you said, and you have said many times up until the launch, you said this is a stupid amount of stuff to launch, and we're seeing that now with Warriors. That is just so much stuff. Whether or not you want it or don't want it, or there are alternatives, it's just a lot of stuff.
It's so much stuff.
It's so much stuff. So like when that finally drops, it's really exciting, especially when it's also wider as well. Like what they did with Orcs and Goblins, more options. So
it's almost certainly more stuff than AOS because of how they like, especially once they start getting into the legacy armies, and they're going to have duplicates. Like it is, it's so much stuff. Like it just makes me wonder how they're going to actually support and pull this off, as they actually come to grips with warehousing this, shelf space, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of boxes. It is a bigger game than AOS. Like each faction is just so much more stuff. There's no other word I have. It's brutal. The thing I would say about it is, it's like this game feels like it was one thing, and then they got cold feet about it, and they said, and they pulled it back, and we see that in the Renegade factions, the Legacy factions, and how they were developed. You can tell that these were supposed to be a blended range at one point when you look, especially at the Renegades. So I think without a shadow of a doubt, if you're a Renegade lover, especially Dark Elves guys, I just hope you know, stonks all-time low. Like if you go to any Facebook group right now, you can buy whole armies of Dark Elves for quite reasonable prices. I still haven't, but like I think there's like a lot of those legacy factions are, and we see this in the participation rates in a lot of the events and things. They're just not getting used. People are actually buying the story of don't look at the renegades, or they're afraid to commit to them because they think they're just going to wind up like Tomb Kings did in AOS. That's not the situation. These guys are coming back, and I've been saying that I think you can really bank on it. If you're a fan of any of the non-officially supported factions, take the opportunity to get stuff, because they're not in demand right now. I think you could very confidently play ogres. I think you can very confidently play vampire counts and demons and all of those things. Anyway.
That kind of flies in the face of my financial advice, which is always buy high, never sell. Buy high, never sell. Right?
Yeah. I'm your official. Don't worry. I'm your official minis broker. That's how Rob gets to Canada. He sends me a shipment of minis, and then I convert.
Buy high, never sell.
And then I convert them to eBay cash. So
pretty good last time.
It was good. Those skin wolves actually fetched a pretty penny, I must say.
That person furious right now. Right. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, do let us know. There will be a Square-based show very soon. We've got loads to catch up on. We've got S-Spot. We have a new announcement for something that the Square-based show itself is going to be running, which is fun.
Yes.
Val, we've got the Square-based event online in Canada and Toronto sold out. There's so much stuff to come from us, which is going to be fun. So do tune in.
Rob's continuing to run events basically constantly.
A little side note, I haven't told you this yet, but I'll tell you now in the video. I basically pitched the idea the other week, like 2 weeks ago, to the guys at the event. I was like, sure, what, guys, I just want to do an event where there's a big old fat river in the middle. And they were like, how would that work? I was like, I don't know. And then this week I was like, I'm going to do it. So I just put up an event and I said to everyone, hey guys, I'm just going to have an event where there's a big old fat river in the middle.
Love a river.
And I'm going to put some rules in. And it's not going to be like, it'll be exactly the same rules you always play, but there'll be a river. And they were like, cool. And it immediately almost sold out. Like, it was like, everyone was like, I'll play. What, some fucked up rules? I'll play. I was like, this is insane. This is insane. So that's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it'll be really cool. Anyway, right, we're off. Goodbye. Everyone send love to Mr. Val Heffelfinger. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this release. Super fun. I hope you're hype. I'm hype. Val's hype. We're hype. See you soon. Loads of love and goodbye.